Top 5 times fans went crazy in snooker matches. Snooker, a game defined by discipline, patience, and complete silence. It's a sport where a single cough can turn heads, and the crowd is trained to clap only at the right time. The atmosphere is often closer to a chess match than a sporting event. Precise, respectful, and almost meditative. But every now and then, snooker loses its composure. In the middle of all that quiet precision, sometimes, the emotion gets too big, the pressure too intense, the drama too real, and that's when the crowd forgets the rules and reacts from the heart. We've all seen football fans screaming goals or basketball arenas shaking from slam dunks, but when a snooker crowd erupts, it's rare and unforgettable. This video takes you into those rare, magical moments. When the Crucible Theater, or any snooker arena, explodes into noise. When players do the unthinkable and fans can't help but go wild. We're talking about scenes that break the mold and leave everyone, players, fans, and commentators, speechless. From perfect breaks to legendary black ball finishes. From dramatic comebacks to moments of pure showmanship. These are the 5 times snooker fans absolutely lost their minds. Let's get loud. 5. When Ding Junhui made history in China, 2014. Imagine the pressure. You're not just playing for yourself, you're playing for 1 billion people who have waited for a hero. That was the reality for Ding Junhui in 2014. Already a superstar in China, Ding had spent years carrying the hopes of a nation that had fallen in love with snooker. And in the 2013 to 2034 season, he delivered, big time. By April, Ding had already won 4 ranking titles that season. As he entered the final of the China Open, he stood on the brink of history. A 5th title would make him the first player since Stephen Hendry in the 1990-1991 season to win 5 ranking events in one season. The opponent? Neil Robertson, one of the best in the world. The pressure? Insane. But Ding played like a man possessed. Frame after frame, he controlled the table. He didn't just outscore Robertson. He outthought, outmaneuvered, and outplayed him. As he neared victory, the tension in the Beijing venue became unbearable. Each pot drew louder reactions. The usual polite applause became cheers, and when Ding potted the final black to seal the win, the roof blew off. Fans rose in unison. Flags waved, people cried. Ding raised his cue in triumph, not just as a player, but as a symbol of Chinese snooker reaching maturity. The moment was about more than winning. It was about validation, about proving that snooker wasn't just a British sport anymore, that it belonged to the world. And in that moment, every Chinese fan in the arena, and millions watching on TV, erupted with pride. 4. Ronnie O'Sullivan's 147 in 5 minutes, 1997 Crucible. Ronnie O'Sullivan doesn't just play snooker, he performs it. And in 1997, in the first round of the World Championship, he did the impossible. Facing Mick Price, Ronnie stepped up with swagger. Just minutes into the match, he found his rhythm, and then, magic. He began what would become the most famous break in snooker history. A perfect 147. But not just any maximum break. The fastest ever recorded in professional play, 5 minutes and 8 seconds. Shot after shot, he glided across the table. The cue ball obeyed like a servant. Reds split perfectly, blacks followed. He barely paused. It was like watching a machine built for one purpose, perfection at high speed. The crowd realized what was happening around halfway through. The murmurs turned to gasps. By the time he reached the final colors, the Crucible audience was on the edge of their seats, and when that final black dropped, bedlam. People leapt to their feet. The referee couldn't hide his grin. Even the commentators were stumbling over their words. They had just witnessed history. Ronnie didn't raise his arms. He didn't need to. The crowd did it for him. 3. Mark Selby's epic comeback versus Ronnie O'Sullivan, 2014 World Final. This was more than just a match. It was a battle of philosophies. On one side, Ronnie O'Sullivan, the free-flowing genius. On the other, Mark Selby, the granite-like tactician. The 2014 World Championship final started exactly how fans expected. Ronnie dominated day one, finishing the session 8-3 ahead. He was relaxed, smiling, and potting for fun. The commentators were already praising his 6th world title. But Mark Selby had other plans. On day 2, Selby came out with a different energy. He slowed the game down. He disrupted Ronnie's rhythm. He made it gritty. Frame after frame, Selby clawed back. At 10-10, the match was level. By 15-14, Selby had broken Ronnie's flow completely. The Crucible audience shifted from confident applause to tense silence. Then, the final few frames. Selby didn't just win them, he broke Ronnie's spirit. As the final black dropped to seal the 18-14 win, Selby pumped his fists. The crowd exploded. People screamed. Some just stood frozen in disbelief. Ronnie, always composed, offered a handshake and a smile. But the crowd knew what they'd seen. One of the greatest comebacks against the greatest player on the biggest stage. 2. The final black ball. Dennis Taylor versus Steve Davis, 1985 World Final. The 1985 World Championship Final is the most-watched snooker match of all time, and for good reason. It was Davis versus Taylor, the machine versus the underdog. Steve Davis had already built a fearsome reputation. At 17-17, after nearly 14 hours of play, it came down to one black ball. Whoever potted it would be world champion. The audience, silent, holding their breath. Davis missed, Taylor lined it up, eyes locked, cue steady, and potted it. The Crucible exploded. Taylor waved his finger in victory. The crowd stood as one. Tears, cheers, laughter. It was total emotional release. Over 18 million people watched the final black on TV. That moment turned snooker into a household phenomenon. A sporting moment so iconic, it's still replayed today, 40 years later. 1. Judd Trump's exhibition madness. 2022 World Champs. Judd Trump had already won the frame. The result was sealed, but he wasn't done. He turned the Crucible into his personal playground. Exhibition shots, showboating, reverse side spin, cannon shots with swagger. The cue ball danced. It was artistry, playfulness, and complete control. The crowd didn't wait for the final black. They were cheering mid-break, laughing, applauding. Some were even chanting. Commentators didn't even know what to say. "That's just ridiculous," one muttered in awe. And when Judd sank the final ball, it wasn't just applause, it was celebration. Because that's what snooker is at its best, brilliant and entertaining. That night, Judd didn't just win a frame, he won hearts. Snooker isn't about noise, it's about stillness, control, respect. But that's what makes these moments so powerful. Because when the crowd finally erupts, it means something extraordinary just happened. Ding Junhui didn't just win a match, he lifted a nation. Ronnie O'Sullivan didn't just score 147, he made time itself stop. Mark Selby didn't just win a final, he toppled a titan. Dennis Taylor didn't just pot a black, he rewrote sports history. Judd Trump didn't just entertain, he reminded us that snooker can be fun. These moments echo through time. They remind us that sport isn't just about results, it's about moments. Moments that break tradition, moments that move crowds, moments that live forever. Which moment gave you chills? Drop your favorite in the comments. And if you love the drama, the legends, and the loudest moments in snooker, smash that like button, subscribe, and join us again. Because when the silence breaks, snooker becomes unforgettable. Until next time, keep watching, keep clapping, and keep loving the game.